WROC 93.5 The Rock. The Rock. Broadcasting from a van down by the river.
Hi there. Are you a large person, pleasantly plump, a little on the hefty side perhaps? Well, let's face it. Are you fat? When you go jogging, do you leave potholes? When you make love, do you have to give directions? At the zoo, do elephants throw you peanuts? Do you look at a menu and say, okay? Well, now you can eat all you want, because at Thornton Mellon's Tall and Fat stores, we've got you covered. That's right, fine woolen and woolen blend suits and sport coats in all the larger sizes. Husky, stout, extra stout, and the new Hindenburg line. And for you ladies, we have caftans, moo-moos, and our own exclusive A-frame in all colors and patterns. Yes, we have miles and miles of fabric. So take it from me, Thornton Mellon. If you want to look thin, you hang out with fat people.
Thornton Mellon's Tall and Fat, 150 locations across America.
Hello, I'm Frank Bartles, and this here's my partner, James Brown. As the weather starts getting too hot, we hope you will reach for one of these. New Bartles and James Brown wine cooler.
It tastes good.
They come in 3 funky flavors. Gravity grape,
Get down.
prime of passion fruit,
Woo, Timothy.
and my personal favorite, papaya.
Papaya's got a brand new day.
It'll get you off faster than a big city lawyer.
Woo!
And a single pack serves 6 to 10, just like James.
New Bartles and James Brown wine coolers. The cooler, made in the cooler.
Now behind bars everywhere.
And thank you for your support.
You're listening to the Fast Plastic Radio Network. It's about the game.
And welcome to the Fast Plastic Radio Network. I'm JB, alongside the host, Billy O. What's going on, Bill?
How you doing, JB?
I'm doing real good.
Real quick adjustments on the sound. Maybe bump me down. How about that? Yeah, there you go. All right. Sounding good.
Yeah, sounded real good.
Yeah, that guitar riff intro there. Who is that?
I don't know.
I had a guy, we were talking about that and said he thought maybe it was Exodus, but I don't think it's Exodus.
That's a good question. I don't know. It's something we had in our production vault of music. So, yeah.
The guitar guy.
That's right, the guitar guy. Yeah. Makes me think I was going through and I found something I thought was pretty cool. I'll have to dig it up and we'll have to, we can use it at Frisco maybe for the Fast Plastic NCT.
Oh yeah, what's that?
Roy Boy used to be on the show, on the JB and Steve-O show. I've got him playing the Star Spangled Banner on electric guitar.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. He does a good job too.
Yeah.
So throw some props out to him. So did you enjoy your week off?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
Good deal.
Too bad. Got a lot of stuff done. How about you?
Yeah, I had a good time. I got a lot of stuff done myself and actually got my motorcycle out and got to do some riding. I had some pretty nice weather, so I took a full advantage of it.
Yeah. I was asking you earlier before the show started about the Rock's traffic reports.
Yeah.
And now there is lack of a traffic report.
Well, back in the day, back when JB and Steve-O was on the air, we had a traffic report. We had a helicopter, and the Babyface Assassin was our eye in the sky that gave us updated traffic reports during the show. Yeah. And, the chopper kind of crashed, and he kind of walked away with a limp. So they've not ever purchased another bird for us.
So he went from being Airwolf to Ground Wolf.
Yeah, he was just a wolf pack of one.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was telling you earlier, trouble getting in here to the studio tonight or this evening because of all the riding lawnmower traffic out there.
Oh, no kidding.
Remember that movie with Tom Hanks, I think back in the 80s, where everybody comes out and mows their yard at the same time and all that?
Yeah.
That's one thing I hate about this time of year.
What was that? The Burbs.
Yeah,
was the name of that movie, The Burbs. Yeah. Good movie there from the 80s.
You may have to bump me down a tad more Still getting a little bit of a feedback.
How's that?
Yeah, I think that's better. Yeah.
All right. All right, so we got a big show lined up tonight.
Yeah, not too bad tonight. I had one guest that had to postpone till next week. So that kind of opened some things up for us tonight, which is good because we're not going to be so cramped on time tonight. But yeah, we've got, who do we have? Coming in first, of course, Millsy. Every week we got
Absolutely.
Millsy. And then,
Kind of excited about Millsy coming on.
are you?
Yeah, I don't know if he's aware, but we've made a special intro for Millsy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, and then we're going down to Texas, talking to Tim Dean, Texas Tim.
Absolutely.
And then from there, we'll be going out west, California, and we're going to stay out there for the remainder of the show, talking to Babs, Kevin Babler.
Big Flies.
Big Flies, maker of the new bat that's out there on the circuits right now.
We've also got a premiere, new commercial, sponsor for the show, Big Flies.
Big Flies.
That's right.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And then rounding out tonight, Sylvie Serrano, the veteran wiffle ball player. Be talking to him about what's going on out there in NorCal and out west in general, and some various topics with Sylvie. It'll be pretty good. So
Sounds like a good show lined up there.
yeah, not too bad. Next week, should I go into what we're going to do next week, or maybe hold off on it?
Give them just a sample, just a teaser of one thing from next week.
We'll be talking about wiffle ball next week.
That's a good teaser.
is.
That is a good teaser.
Yep. Not the company, the sport.
I'm reading some comments over here. Tim Stewart says, Billy looks like he got a clean cut.
Yeah, things started heating up outside, and it was time. I went without cutting my hair since the Texas Open all the way up till a week ago. So
Yeah. Plus, it's pretty humid around here right now. So.
yeah. Oh, the humanity, the humidity. Yeah. Anyway, JB, something before you get a hold of Millsy, I want to bring up that I thought is pretty
Absolutely.
awesome.
Go right ahead.
So I received some inside information. Excuse me, that you were up in St. Louis and you received an award
This is true.
for. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you saved somebody's life.
Yeah, I actually did. Yeah, I got my actual job that I do away from here. I deal with emergencies, and it's kind of like the immediate medical transport that we have here. Along that lines, I zip around the streets in an ambulance on my time off from the radio. And last year, my partner and I, we had a life-saving event where we got a person that went into cardiac arrest on us, and we revived him and got him to the hospital.
That's awesome.
We, my partner and I both received a life-saving award, along with numerous other members of the company that we work for. And it was a big banquet in St. Louis where this went on. So congrats out to all the employees of the service that did a great job. And of course, just because you didn't get an award, you're still doing a great job.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's really good. And appreciate all your hard work out there. And guys, good chance JB will be down at the Texas Open this year. Maybe he can help handle all of our emergencies that occur at the tournament down there. So send JB a message if you're listening and tell him thanks for all his hard work. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that too. It's something that we don't strive for recognition for, but it's nice to hear it once in a while.
Absolutely. Well, what do you think? Millsy, got to bring him on, get him in?
Yeah, we'll give me a second here, get him on the horn, okay?
All right, while you're doing that, I guess I'll do shirt of the week. Last time we were on, we did 2 shirts. Today, I figure keep it simple, just 1 shirt of the week. I'll get this knocked out real quick. This one comes from 1997 National Championship Tournament, Cincinnati, Ohio. It's the JTL Bat Company 1997 North American Wiffle Ball Championship, Cincinnati, Ohio.
Pretty cool shirt.
Yeah, not bad. You notice the pink hanger?
I did see that.
There's a reason for that.
What's the reason?
Well, I actually played in that championship game.
They gave you the hanger as a souvenir?
Well, I personally keep it on that because we won second place, and that's what you get for finishing second.
Gotcha.
Something pink.
Yeah. All right. I have Millsy on the horn, and he's standing by. So, Millsy, we're going to tease you here for just a second. We've got a new intro for you, and I want to get that going here before we bring you on. So just hang tight, Millsy. Best way to tell the world about your upcoming tournament is Fast Plastic Radio and WiffleBallTournaments.com. WiffleBallTournaments.com is here to help you locate tournaments all over the nation and find the ones closest to home. If you know of any tournaments that we don't have listed, let us know. We're here to help everyone, players and directors alike. Spread the word, WiffleBallTournaments.com. You can contact WiffleBallTournaments.com, W2BWiffle@gmail.com, WiffleBallTournaments.com. All right, and Millsy, are you there?
Yes, I am.
What'd you think?
Great stuff, guys. I love it.
All right, so now I want to prompt you real quick, okay? I want you to tell us who you are and what your favorite station that talks about wiffle ball is.
I am Adam Milstead, and my favorite station is Fast Plastic Radio.
All right, thank you, man. Now let's hear about those tournaments going on across the country.
Yeah, so there's a few leagues opening up this weekend, and the first one I have is Skibby Wiffle Ball League. Their opening day is Friday, and that takes place in St. Louis, Missouri. It's their 16th season. And they actually play their entire season in one weekend. So from Friday to Monday, their whole season will be complete. It's a medium pitch, unscuffed, yellow bat, run the base league. Next, I have the Greater Auburn Wiffle Ball League, otherwise known as the GAW. And their opening day is Saturday. That's in Auburn, Massachusetts. They're a slow pitch, unscuffed, yellow bat, run the base league. Next, I have Florida State Wiffle Ball League. And they have a fast pitch tournament this Saturday in Jacksonville, Florida. Then the 5th annual Tim Strain Memorial Wiffle Ball Tournament. That's this Saturday in Philadelphia, PA. I couldn't find any rules on it, but my guess is it's probably a medium pitch, unscuffed, yellow bat league. Next, I have a bunch of guys that are in St. Louis, Missouri, and they're going for the world record wiffle ball game. They're going to do that this Saturday. It's a group called the World Record Baseball, and proceeds go to St. Louis Children's Hospital. The current record is 25 hours, 39 minutes, and 33 seconds, and they claim that they're going to be going for 26 hours.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It'll be impressive to see if they can pull that off. Next, I have the Craft Beer Wiffle Ball Derby, and that is tonight in Chicago, Illinois. And I couldn't find any more info on that, but you can't really go wrong with craft beer and a home run derby. Me and my buddies from Way Too Beautiful played in a tournament in Toms River, New Jersey. It was at the Rin Dooin Brewery, and we had a great time. I mean, we definitely tasted too many of the beers in between games, which led to some fun on the field. But yeah, it's always fun when you mix beer with wiffle ball.
That's really cool.
They have any of that Microsoft brew?
They might, you never know. But yeah, that's all I got going on this weekend, guys.
All right. Sounds good. Appreciate it, Millsy.
Yeah, those are some awesome sounding events going on. I wish I had more time to hit some of those up.
Especially two right here in our backyard, basically in St. Louis.
Yeah, that St. Louis one sounds really appetizing. I'm gonna have to try to track those guys down and get a report from them.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool to see how they make out with that.
Yeah, and I'll tell them that you sent me, so you can get some credit for that.
Absolutely, I appreciate that.
So, everything else going good for you, Millsy?
Yeah, everything's great. What'd you guys end up doing with your week off? Did you rewatch the Eagles Super Bowl win?
That was on the top of my list, but I just didn't get to it.
Oh, yeah. The Eagles actually won, huh? I still can't believe
Yeah,
that.
I'm still shocked. I still can't believe it either.
Yeah. No, just relaxed a little bit, fished, did some fishing, and my other passion, gardening.
Okay, nice.
Such excitement. So
yeah, I actually I'm going to be working on a garden in my backyard soon, so I might have to ask you for some tips.
He's got a green thumb.
Yeah. Well, not to be mistaken with the one that hit with the hammer.
Well, that's red though. Isn't it? Yeah.
Well, great, man. Appreciate you coming on as always, keeping us up to date on all the action around the country. And you do great work, and I think probably underappreciated for having that website and maintaining it for guys. It's a great resource. So thanks again, Millsy.
Yeah, Millsy.
Anytime. I enjoy coming on here and talking with you guys.
And now that we've got a spot for you, we're going to plug you all the time.
Great. I appreciate that too. Thanks.
All right. You have a good one, Millsy.
Yeah, you too. I'll talk to you next week.
All right. See ya. All right, Millsy, great update there. Tournament's right there in St. Louis. It's a shame we couldn't get up there and check that out.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, that St. Louis has always been a hotbed for wiffle, fast pitch.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure slow pitch guys or whatever it's called, exists up there, but it's always been huge fast pitch location. The Wiffle Up tournaments back 10, 12, 13 years ago would get over 100 teams. So that's
really
a lot. Yeah, that's quite a bit.
That is a lot. I'd like to see the tournament there where they're going to play for 26 hours. That's a long time.
Well, I envision that being a group of guys playing a continuous game, maybe a never-ending game.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. It's going to be a never-ending game, but I would hope that they've got somebody there that's going to be there to just in case they get hurt. But it's for a great cause. They're raising money for the Children's Hospital there in St. Louis, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, good idea, definitely.
So, why don't we take just a brief moment and let's throw some sponsorships out, get some bills paid here at 93.5 The Rock, and we'll be back and we'll get our next guest on the line, okay?
All right, sounds good.
You're listening to the Fast Plastic Radio Network. Fast Plastic Radio Network.
Fast Plastic is back. The 2018 Texas Open in Frisco, Texas. Saturday, October 6th, Columbus Day weekend. Battle through 24 of the hardest hitting teams to take home the most coveted prize in the history of the sport. Fast Plastic. We're back bigger and better. $10,000 in the national championship. Register now. www.fastplasticnct.com. Fast Plastic. It's about the game.
Hey, everybody. DP here. Tune in Sundays to the West Coast Wiffle Report live on Blog Talk Radio as we chronicle all things wiffle ball.
Play ball.
Big Flies. Changing the way you play one bat at a time. Handmade, lightweight wood bats in Chico, California. Custom designed to each individual's order. You can reach Big Flies through Babs Big Flies on Facebook through Messenger or by simply calling Kevin at Big Flies 530-517371. Big Flies. Changing the way you play one bat at a time.
Hey, everybody. You're listening to WROC 93.5, the Fast Plastic Radio Network.
All right, we're back.
Yeah, some pretty good work you've done there, JB.
Well, we're trying to get some good stuff in here,
filling in all those dead spots that we've had. So
absolutely.
So before I forget, let me go ahead and tell everybody that listening this evening that registration for the Fast Plastic Texas Open is on. You can go to the Fast Plastic website, fastplasticnct.com, and get registered right now. Take advantage of that early bird special, which is going to run for the next few weeks. You can get registered right now for $100.
$100. That's a good investment. $100 to get 10,000.
Yeah, that's right. $100.
Yeah.
So get on there. Now, I can tell you, as the season progresses, it's going to fill up and prices will go up.
Just want to throw out there, remember, only 24 teams. So if you want to go to the Fast Plastic NCT, you better get on there and get signed up now, because those 24 spots, they're going to go fast. The other thing I want to throw out real quick for all of our listeners that are watching live on Facebook and on YouTube, share our video on your page. Share this live feed. Let's get it circulated. Let's get more people aware of Fast Plastic and what we're about and about the game itself. So make sure you share our live feed on your pages so other people can see it, maybe get interested and start checking it out.
I got an idea for you, JB.
What's that?
Project,
okay.
What was that singer? She was half Indian pop singer from back in the 70s. Cher,
okay.
Maybe you get her and do a spot for us telling everybody they need to share Fast Plastic Radio.
All right. I don't know if we can get her in here or not to do
Why
it,
not?
but I don't know. We can try, I guess. I guess we can always try. It doesn't hurt.
Oh, well, I thought I'd give it a try.
It was worth a shot. I'll give you that much, okay? So looks like we've got Tim Dean going to be coming up here next, right here on FPRN.
Yeah, Tim's coming on. He's down there in Austin, Cedar Park area, Texas. And he's got some stuff going down there this year. Season's going, and I believe he's running some tournaments, and I want to talk a little bit about that. A little bit about his background in the sport, and about his role with Fast Plastic for this year. So that ought to be a pretty good discussion. He's always done a heck of a job for us at the NCTs, dating all the way back through 2003. So we brought him back this past season and pulled off a magnificent event. So,
all right, we've got Tim Dean on the line. How's it going, Tim?
Hey, it's going really well.
Good, Tim. Good to have you on.
I'm doing all right. Hey, I want to make a little quick comment about that Guinness Book of World Record game. I have a buddy of mine that participated in the similar thing with baseball. And what they do, it is just two teams playing, and they sort of rotate the players, and they'll sit out for a while, a few innings, and actually they even have cots for them and tents to sleep in, and they'll just keep rotating players in and out. But it's sort of the same group of people, and I'm sure they're doing something similar to that.
So how exactly do they go about raising money? How does that work? You just go around and you get businesses to support and sponsor? Is that usually the method? Do you know?
Yeah. They're just trying to get people to donate. Like, hey, similar to things like, hey, I'm doing jump ropes and I do 100 of them. How much money will you sponsor for every time I skip a rope? Which for me is not very many, but something like that. So they do get them to donate money for the cause. And, for most businesses, that's tax deductible.
Yeah, I see. Well, it's pretty neat. Pretty good idea.
Yep.
I know Palanzar used to run some 24-hour type tournaments, I think in New York at some indoor facility, and it would be seems like it was in the winter time, real early spring, late winter. I never made it, but I remember him talking about those. But as a kind of a different setting, obviously he wasn't doing it for a charity though. So
no.
Anyway, so Tim, thanks for coming on. We've got 101 different questions for you, and I guess we'll get right into it. So the first thing I want to know, and I don't know the answer to this, I'm curious, what year did you first begin getting involved with the sport?
Well, you know, for my work, it was through work and is 2000. But just like all of us, we started, and at least I did. I started playing as a kid, and actually behind my house were a bunch of woods, and we actually built an actual field and a stadium with a press box and backstop and all this kind of stuff. And we had different neighborhoods come in and play. And so, I mean, the genesis of my interest really started probably when I was 12, 13, 14 years old. And I ran leagues and tournaments back when I was a teenager. After that, you know, it went away for quite a while. And then when I started here with the city of Cedar Park, shortly after that, in year 2000 is when the first time we started hosting tournaments here in Cedar Park. And about 3 years after that, about 2003 is when we built for what you know and have seen is the 3 permanent wiffle ball fields that you've seen in that park that we have. And then from there, we've just, you know, been doing it, tournaments and some leagues. And just like Fast Plastic, we sort of went on a hiatus for a few years. And then a couple of years ago, we started it back up, running some different tournaments throughout the summer.
Okay. Well, I never knew that about your wiffle history playing as a youngster. I didn't know that. Of all the conversations that we've had, that one's new. So were you a pitcher?
No, and what's even funnier is being a buddy of mine that built those fields. You know, as kids, we make a big deal out of a lot of different things. And when we had field built, we had an opening day, and he had written on that wiffle ball that we threw out the first pitch with, and he wrote on it Hall of Fame. And when I did one of my first tournaments here in Cedar Park, he drove from Houston all the way up here to watch some of it, and he gave me that exact ball from our childhood that he has hung on to it all these years. And I just thought that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's very cool. So what do you do?
And it still says, it says Hall of Fame on it.
Do you have it in a protective case or anything like that?
I do. I do. It's in a little plastic ball case, and so yeah, it's in there.
Well, that's good. Don't be like me. Whenever I was that age, back in like 75 or something like that, my baseball coach went to Shea Stadium, and his brother, I think, played for the Mets. So anyway, I had a baseball signed by every Mets player from that day. I got it home and set on the shelf for, I don't know, about a month. Then I ended up just taking it out and using it for batting practice or whatever. I'm like, the Mets, they suck, you know. So, yeah.
Right. I'm not going to get out and play with it and hit it over the fence and let the beast get it. I'm just not going to do that.
Well, yeah, that's pretty cool. So those permanent fields then built in 2003, that's a pretty impressive feat. The construction of those fields, the quality of them, the materials, pretty impressive. I think I've seen one other permanent complex that comes close to it. So how did you manage to pull that off? Like, did you have full support of the park and the county, or was there some questioning? Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Oh, I had a very supportive director at the time, and we were able to use funds because they viewed it as, if I do these tournaments, I'm bringing people from out of town heads in bed. So when I have a tournament, let's say when you guys would drive down and play, you're staying in a local hotel, you're spending money. You know, the hotel may have been $100 a night, and you bought food here, you may have bought gas here in your vehicle, and that money turns over several times in town of you spending it. So those wiffle ball fields, when I have a tournament, and almost always I have someone come from out of town to play, you know, that's, again, it's heads and beds is how it's sort of viewed, and city makes indirect money from it. I don't hardly for my tournaments. I've done several for free. I've got 2 free ones in June. And so there's very few people that just love this sport like I do, because I don't play anymore. And so the love of the game and the love of running a tournament is why I do it. And so there are very few people like me that would do that. And it's not about money. It's just about, I enjoy doing it, and it's a lot of fun. So it's brought in people. If you remember the guys from Oklahoma used to drive in almost every tournament that I did, several hours to come down and play. I've had teams from Houston and San Antonio come up and play. And so that's really where it came from. If you're right, the fields are still in great shape. I was actually looking at it today. We're having them treated next week. The guys that do the soccer fields, all the turf, they do the same thing on the wiffle ball fields as they do out there on the soccer fields, whether it's fertilizing and aerating. They do the same thing on those fields because they are irrigated as well.
Yeah, I remember that. The best aspect I can remember from those fields was the community garden that's set right between them.
Right.
Is it still there?
Right. Yeah, a lot of foul balls go in there.
Yeah,
so.
I love that. I'd get in there looking for foul balls, and I'd be checking out everybody's garden and be like, man, that's a good idea.
Yeah, because you got a green thumb ball.
I do. So, so you ran tournaments. You actually ran like the Texas State Games, correct? And you incorporated wiffle ball into that.
Yes. So I'm not 100% of the years. The Williamson County, the county that I'm in, all the parks departments in the area went in and hosted the TAAF, Texas Amateur Athletic Federation Games of Texas. And the Games of Texas still exists today, and it rotates around different places in the state. But because we were hosting it, the host site has an option to add a couple of sports or add sports that are not in their core sports. The Games of Texas core sports are track and field, swimming, boxing, several other ones. And then we added wiffle ball for those 2 years because we had a pretty avid following of wiffle ball teams at that time. And we hosted it, had 2 different divisions, sort of the upper division or open and novice division. And we had several teams in each one of them. And I want to say it was somewhere around 05, 06, somewhere in there that we hosted those. And it was a big success. We got a lot of media coverage in the Austin area from it. So, yeah, I'm surprised you remember that.
Yeah, I was always intrigued by that, because it was such a great idea in that it could have been used as, like the sample for all these other communities and states to do similar things. But I mean, Texas, Austin that area has a lot going on for it, and all things good, it seems. And unfortunately, a lot of cities, they don't get it, so I don't know.
I've actually visited a little bit with Will Marshall of trying to do maybe a true maybe state champion, just a tournament for the state of Texas, and we're even discussing it might be even cool if we can have a series or something between the Dallas area, top team and maybe the Austin area top team. Somehow, if we can make that happen in the future, that might be pretty cool.
Yeah, one question I have for you. I mean, if it's going to ask anybody, you'd be the guy to know this. But in my days being in Texas and doing this fast plastic thing for years, I wonder why we don't see more players coming from, say, San Antonio and Houston. It always seemed like it was Austin and Dallas, and that was about it. Why do you think that is?
Houston's one of the biggest cities in the country, and actually so is San Antonio. When you look at the top 10 list or 15, I think San Antonio is in there.
Yeah,
you're exactly right. I really think it has to do with someone in that community being the point man to get it going. Because if you remember back when you were in the Dallas area, there was a couple of guys that were doing something there. I can't remember the guys' names, but they were doing some wiffle ball, and then it sort of fizzled out. And there's never been anybody in Houston. I've had some teams come, but there's never been an organized effort in Houston at all, and there never has been in San Antonio. Right now, I've got a guy in San Antonio that is getting a lot of players playing. He's like a professor at one of the colleges, and he's getting a lot of his students. As a matter of fact, it's a guy named Rick who has played with Tiger in the national championship. He used a yellow plastic bat, and you would know him if you saw him. He's played, and you've played against him several times, but
Yeah.
he is really getting a lot of people trying to play in San Antonio, but not really a organized effort. But you're right, Houston is so big that if just somebody there would take the lead and try to do something, it could probably blow up. And that's what Will's done up in the Dallas area, is just being up there. It's continuing to grow and take wings of its own and get bigger. And then with here in Austin, it's just been my effort really, but we've gotten a lot of people to play. Will and I discussed the different parts of the state of how we might get people in those different areas of the state to try to play. But, you know, it's hard enough in your own community to get stuff going, much less go somewhere else.
Yeah, you're right. I know there in Dallas, it's like the rise and fall of the wiffle empires. You know, one guy, like you said, a guy would come along and have a great thing going, and then it'd die off. Somebody would pick it up and run with it, and it'd die off. And, you know, now Will is the man. But Dallas was actually the headquarters for Street Ball Partners, which ran and operated Yard Ball back in the 90s, which was a version of wiffle ball using a different ball, and sponsored by Major League Baseball. So that would have been the shining star, so to speak, of the entire sport. But it died.
The yard ball thing was huge. I went up there to Dallas to watch one of their tournaments, and I was amazed how many people were playing. And it just because Major League Baseball was backing it and advertising it, and that's really, I mean, you could imagine if somebody would do that, how many players would participate. Interesting enough, 2 years ago, the Texas Rangers called me, and I went up to the Texas Rangers office, toured their facility, and sat down with one of the marketing people. It's a true story. And we sat there and discussed how they might do something wiffle ball related, maybe over at the little small Dr. Pepper stadium that they have next to the stadium, and a way to incorporate that into some stuff that they were doing. Now, as much as I talked it up, they never took hold of it, but they seemed excited at the time. And I was excited because I thought that would be a catalyst to help make or really increase the popularity of the sport. And unfortunately, they didn't run with it.
Yeah, that's interesting. I know they're at the ballpark in Arlington. 10 years ago, they had a wiffle ball field up in center field, and, you know, they got kids that get in there and hit with the yellow bat and hit it out of the park, and you could stand out there and catch the balls. But I don't know, you know, how far that got, but yeah, I guess have to, who was it you spoke with? Do you know?
Again, it was somebody in their marketing department. And it was funny, as I was sitting there in the lobby, I was with a buddy of mine who was a big Rangers fan that worked with me at the time. And we were right next to their big conference room, and all the big wigs for the Rangers. And I didn't know them all, but my buddy did. He said, "Oh, that's such and such, and that's such and such." And I mean, we were right there next to all the decision makers. And of the organization. It was pretty cool. But yeah, I don't remember the guy's name. And like I said, he said he would contact me if I said I'd come up and run whatever you want. And but like I said, it just never took flight.
Well, maybe they're waiting, Tim, until the day when they get that new stadium built.
Sure.
You know, because I think they're supposed to be building a new stadium there, right?
I just think they built this one. Does it not seem like that?
Oh, it is. Yeah, the ballpark at Arlington is new, but they're already going to tear it down and build a brand new one. So it's crazy.
That's crazy.
It's like Atlanta did the same thing. But all right. Well, anyway, we'll shift gears here. So one thing I always wondered, you know, you were at all of the NCTs back in the day, 03 through 09, and even last year. You talked to 1,000 guys over all those years. You saw most of the games. You got all the reports. Tell me what you think your favorite memory, or maybe you have a few, if you can recall. What would be your favorite memory from those days?
Well, one of my favorite memories is witnessing what Chuck Hensley pulled off at the NCT. And I've heard y'all talk about Chuck Hensley on the show before, and it was phenomenal. And had he had any help, he'd have won that tournament. And I don't, you know, but the pitching performance that he did, to me, far outshines, I don't care, arguably, any performance that has ever been done. And he didn't even come close to winning the tournament. And it was just amazing when he would pitch. People would go over there to watch, and just amazing. And another really cool moment was the Chico Bamboos. What, you know, their antics and how much they did everything. You know, it was pretty cool to watch those guys, and they actually came out of nowhere. Really, I don't think anybody expected them to do what they did that year, and they did really, really awesome. And a lot of times, you know, I don't really go and watch a lot of games. You know, I'm really sort of stuck at you know, in my little area collecting data. So sometimes it takes late in the day when I don't have to be there all the time to venture out to different places to look at games. The team that Westman played on, that team's name.
Say that again, Tim. You're cutting out just a little bit.
What was the team name that Westman played on?
Oh, yeah, NIF.
Okay, that team there was pretty exciting to watch. I remember late in the night under the lights over on the soccer field where we had a field set up, several fields set up over there, where they were deep in the tournament and they hit a big home run, and it was pretty wild and crazy. And I think that's on video somewhere. But that was a pretty cool moment. And one of the things that's always prideful for me is that my son played in the last one. And if you can remember, him and some of his friends. And so I enjoyed watching, because they actually won a game late in the tournament. You know, it was, and so that was memorable to me to see him actually earn and get to participate in one of the national tournaments and hold their own, you know, against some of the teams. And I always love to see the Texas teams do well, because so much smack is talked by everybody, including, I don't mean to hurt anybody's feelings, all you guys on the upper East Coast. And that, you know, that's the cat's meow of wiffle ball for everybody, right? And or for most people. And when these Texas teams come, especially like last year, where they earned some respect, no one is expecting them to do very well, and they actually do, and do better than a lot of the other teams that people think are going to do well. That really gives me a lot of satisfaction. So do I root for Texas teams? Sure I do. I'm a homer. But I don't have any influence on who wins the game or not, but I root for my home state, and I love to see the Texas boys do well. And last year was no different. Those guys, even the teams, everybody expected Will's team to do a little bit, and they did more than a little bit. But there were some other teams that actually had some upsets, and that was really cool to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I like that. I think we'll probably see even more out of the Texas teams this year. I'm seeing a lot of names being tossed around out there, and that's really exciting. Familiar names, guys that know how to play, So, and for the most part, they're all, your guys that you brought up and basically taught them how to play down there. So I'm excited to see those guys get back into it.
Yep.
So, talking about last year's Texas Open, were you satisfied with what you saw there? Do you think that it was a good thing? Were your expectations met?
I think they were exceeded. There's a lot of new faces that burst onto the scene, and since the last time we were around, right? And because that was a long time ago, and so that was really cool. I was surprised of the amount of people, the teams that traveled to play. I think I've told you this. Honestly, I know that people are excited about the money, but I really think when you do this, I think a lot of these teams would come just to play, to prove their mettle, to see if they are the best, to see where they stand. And because you and I could have probably only picked maybe 5 teams out of that whole field last year that truly had a shot to win it. The rest of them knew they really didn't. They were coming to compete, play, and have fun. And there were probably only 5 of them that really truly had a shot to win that tournament. And they just come for the competition to see where they stand, and they had a blast. So I'm continuing to be amazed at how many people come. The same thing's going to happen this year when it's all said and done. After all the entries are done, a lot of people are going to sit down and look down, and you're probably only going to pick 6, maybe 7 teams that truly have a shot to be the champion at the end of the tournament. That they have the arms, they have the bats, they have everything that they need to have all the tools to win the tournament. But again, the rest of them just come. They want to be there, they want to compete, and they want to play respectable. And so for a lot of them, it's not about the money. And I think that's what's really cool, is these are still a bunch of people that just love to play the game. And it's amazing. And the changing of the guard that's happened, last year there were a few legends of the sport playing in that tournament. And the younger people, all they do is they know the name. And you look at Jim Ballion, he's a legend in our sport. And is he at his prime? No, he's not. He's still a good player, but it's amazing still to see people like that playing the game with the people that are coming up and passing the torch, as you could so speak, to the next. And I think they respect the older group, the older generation of playing. And you can't compare era to era. You've heard it so many times. Oh, this team can beat that team. We just need to throw that out the window. It's like comparing LeBron to Michael Jordan. You just can't. We can talk it, but really, it's just different eras of the game.
Right. Yeah, I agree. It's a tough one. Unless you play Fast Plastic Fantasy, then of course you can figure it all out.
That's true.
But anyway, tell me about what you got coming up this year in Austin for players. If somebody wants to play some ball, what do you got going?
Yep, we have our city website is cpsports.us, cpsports.us, and we have 2 free tournaments coming up in June, and then we have 2 cheap tournaments in July. And I say cheap, it's only $20 a team. You can't beat that with a stick. And but I am doing some experiments this year with medium pitch. And I know that's a very popular format, and And I also think it could be a great format for an introductory style of play for a team that's never played before. And so I've got a slow pitch, or I say slow, medium pitch, on June 9th, coming up in a couple of weeks. I've already got teams registered for it. We do require pre-registration. It is free. Then I got a fast pitch coming up on June 23rd. Both those tournaments are free, and you can play in both of them. And then in July, I've got another medium pitch on July 21st and a fast pitch on July 28th. And we're limiting it to 12 teams per tournament. So if anybody wants to play in it, there is a limit, of how many teams I can take. I've got those 3 fields, so I can only take so many. But I'm pretty excited about trying this medium format. And again, I'm doing it because it's a great place for kids to play, a bunch of 12 or 13-year-olds that want to play and just to have fun. I think it's a great format to try to cultivate the sport without having to face Dylan and Dalton Decker with Upper Deck throwing the gas that they throw.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I just think it's great, and I'm hoping it works.
Well, Tim, I would tell you to make sure you get a hold of Millsies there and let him know at wiffleballtournaments.com so he can get that listed for you, all those tournaments you got coming up.
Well, JB, you probably haven't checked their website because it's up there already.
Look at you.
Look at that. All right, Tim. So yeah, that I can tell you guys, I played down there in Tim's tournaments on those permanent fields, and it's a lot of fun. Great atmosphere there in Cedar Park. Good place to hang out before and after the tournaments. Really clean, nice people, a lot of good places to eat. So definitely, if you're in Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, San Antonio, and Houston, get over there and check it out.
It's just not fun when it's raining. It is the Billy.
Well, I'm glad you refrained from stating that 2009 was amongst your favorite memories.
No, it was not my favorite memory. That's for sure. But we are lucky that we had those fields as a backup because we were able to finish that tournament and not the way we wanted or where we wanted, but weather doesn't always cooperate. So I think we got very lucky on at least having them to be able to finish out the tournament.
Yeah, we were very lucky, but I mean, luck only goes so far. I would say we were lucky to have you. I mean, that's the best way to put it, because without you being there and figuring out to make that move, then that tournament doesn't ever go down in the books. It's just a wash. It's gone. So
I appreciate it. Again, Billy, you know I love this sport, and I love the characters that I've met along the way, and I do say because it's been interesting and fun, and I've also met some really cool people that now I consider my friends across the nation, and it's been fun.
So we're going to see you in October, right, up in Frisco?
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I think
will be there.
I think King and I we're talking about maybe having a chopper fly you in this year. How about that?
Right. I just show up right there before the tournament. And,
yeah, wouldn't that be awesome? Yeah, but we're gonna take care of you. We're gonna get you there. We're gonna take care of you this year, even more so than last year. So we can't do it without you, Tim. So everybody in the sport loves you. You're talking about legends. Well, you're a true legend of the sport too.
Absolutely.
So before we close out here, JB, you want to get something from Tim?
Absolutely. Tim, I want you to tell me who you are, where you're from, and what your favorite wiffle ball network is. All right.
My name is Inigo Montoya, and I listen to Fast Plastic Radio.
All right.
Awesome. Hey, man, thanks a lot for coming on tonight. I really enjoyed it, and you definitely know you're going to be back on at least twice before the season's out, so be ready.
Sure will. And I like to tell, when I can get me back on, I'm going to tell you some stories about my childhood in that wiffle ball field, how we got it built.
Yeah, I want to hear those.
That'd be awesome.
Well, have a good night.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good one, Tim.
You too.
All right. Tim Dean from Texas there checking in with us tonight.
Yeah, Tim, one of the good guys out there.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you something real quick about him. I didn't go into it, but way back, I think in 02 maybe. Oh, no, it had to be earlier than that. I think it's probably 2000.
Okay.
So I published a printed newsletter.
I remember that.
Yeah, and Tim used to he was one of the subscribers. I'd send it to him. He would always provide his tournament results.
Right.
I got a letter to the editor one time from Tim, and he was bashing me pretty good.
Really?
Yeah, he was like, "What's the deal? Why is it all I ever read about in Fast Plastic is this guy or these certain teams? I don't ever hear about this and that and that." And he was really coming down hard on me, made me rethink some things, But the problem was trying to get people to provide information is like pulling teeth sometimes. But he had a valid point. I still have that email somewhere. I'm going to pull that out.
Be a great topic for next time he calls in.
Yeah, or I might just mail him a copy with some poison attached to it or something, Tim. Watch out.
Check your mail or have somebody you don't like open it, one of the two.
Yeah, no kidding. So, yeah.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to throw some spots on and let you guys know about the Fast Plastic NCT 2018 tournament coming up. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back. And when we're back, we're going to have Kevin Babler, Babs Big Flies, right here on 93.5 The Rock, the Fast Plastic Radio Network. Fast Plastic is back. The 2018 Texas Open in Frisco, Texas. Saturday, October 6th, Columbus Day weekend. Battle through 24 of the hardest hitting teams to take home the most coveted prize in the history of the sport. Fast Plastic. We're back bigger and better. $10,000 in the national championship. Register now. www.fastplasticnct.com. Fast Plastic. It's about the game.
Play ball.
Big Flies. Changing the way you play one bat at a time. Handmade, lightweight wood bats in Chico, California. Custom designed to each individual's order. You can reach Big Flies through Babs Big Flies on Facebook through Messenger or by simply calling Kevin at Big Flies 530-517371. Big Flies, changing the way you play one bat at a time. Best way to tell the world about your upcoming tournament is Fast Plastic Radio and WiffleBallTournaments.com. WiffleBallTournaments.com is here to help you locate tournaments all over the nation and find the ones closest to home. If you know of any tournaments that we don't have listed, let us know. We're here to help everyone, players and directors alike. Spread the word, WiffleBallTournaments.com. You can contact WiffleBallTournaments.com, W2BWiffle@gmail.com. WiffleBallTournaments.com.
You're listening to the Fast Plastic Radio Network. Fast Plastic Radio Network.
Absolutely, and we're back with the FPRN right here on 93.5 The Rock. I'm JB alongside the host, Billy O.
Yeah, JB, so we just concluded the interview there with Tim Dean. That went great. Next up, we've got Babs, Kevin Babler, who
Big Flies.
Big Fly. He makes he's a woodworker. He does a lot of woodworking, and stemming from that comes well, I don't know if you know anything about woodworking.
Actually, I was going to say that Kevin and I probably have a lot in common then.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because I used to do a lot of woodworking myself in a previous job. Yeah. I actually worked in a toothpick factory.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I started out with, we get these log trucks that would bring logs to the factory, and we had Swiss Army knives, and we would whittle those things down and make toothpicks. Actually, I carry a box everywhere I go of handmade toothpicks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where was that located?
That was actually in Maine.
Maine, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was kind of cool up there.
Yeah, well, why'd you quit, man?
Carpal tunnel.
Oh, yeah?
I had to get into something else I could do.
Yeah. Wow. How long did it take to carve down a log to a toothpick?
Well, we would get about 7 toothpicks out of one log. A lot of errors in there because when you get that small on something, if you get one bad strike on it, it's ruined.
So they're picky about
very, very, very much so. Yeah.
Well, that's master craftsman over there, just like Babs coming on.
That's right. So let me get Babs on the horn, and you can talk about something while we're waiting.
Yeah, I'll talk about registering for the Fast Plastic Texas Open coming up Columbus Day weekend, October 6th, Saturday. You can now sign up at the Fast Plastic website, fastplasticnct.com. You're immediately on the registration page, and you can get in and save some money right now. It's not going to last, but definitely want to take advantage of that, guys.
Absolutely. Get in there. There's only 24 teams, and you want to register early. Better early than late, because if you're late, you're going to be a spectator. That's about the best way I can say it. So on the horn, we've got Kevin Babs, all the way from Chico, California. Welcome to the show, Kevin.
How you guys doing?
Doing great. How about yourself?
Fantastic. It's good to be with you guys tonight.
Absolutely. We got a lot in common, right, Kevin?
Yeah, I heard that toothpick spiel.
Yeah.
I can get about 20 from a log, but, I'm not bragging.
Sounds like you've got a little bit better experience than me then.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Well, we got a good, nice, crisp, clean connection here tonight,
Absolutely.
Babs, so that's awesome.
I went landline tonight for you guys.
That's awesome. So, Babs, what'd you think of our spot we made for you?
I think it's great. We dropped the 3 out of the 513-7371, but I quickly prompted it up on the message board.
I saw that. So we'll get that fixed, okay?
That's fantastic. I appreciate it.
And before we get into it, go ahead and tell us who you are, where you're from, and what your favorite wiffle ball network is.
This is Babs from Chico, California, and Big Flies, and I listen to Fast Plastic Radio.
Awesome. Thank you.
So, Babs, I was curious. You're a huge baseball fan. You're still involved with the game, obviously, wiffle ball. Who's your all-time favorite baseball player?
Hands down, the crime dog, Fred McGriff.
No kidding. I don't think I've ever heard anybody name him as a favorite. Why would that be?
Baseball players, they're sports in general. I think a lot of people are, overdone. And, I heard earlier, the comparison between LeBron's and Michael Jordan's, of course, in basketball. But, Fred McGriff was always just a great player, very consistent. I think he was the only guy to average 30 home runs for 9 years. I think he ended up at 493, 7 short of the 500 mark. In my mind, just a Hall of Fame guy, both on and off the field. You never caught him arguing balls and strikes. He was a very quiet player, in an era where, there were other guys that were standouts, but he was always my favorite, and I just always paid attention to him. I was also a big Devon White fan because I was a center fielder, and Devo, he was just, one of those guys that I latched onto.
Yeah, going back to the Blue Jays there, those were some great teams. Definitely.
Oh, yeah, great teams.
Yeah, I lived in Atlanta for a long time. McGriff, was a Brave for a lot of years, and he was a fun player to watch, definitely.
Fred McGriff actually had come over, I think it was 1995, to the Braves and hit 2 bombs, or I should say big flies, opening night at Fulton County Stadium, and that's when Fulton County caught on fire.
Yeah, I remember that game. I do.
Yeah,
that's a good one. I went to a game one time. I think I got there late. I think I got there top of the second or maybe top of the third. And the Braves had actually in the bottom of the first inning, I think they went back to back to back. It was Justice, Ron Gant, and maybe no, it was who was it? It was four. They had three guys one year that went had 40 home runs on the team, and all three of those guys went back to back to back. And
maybe Klesko.
Klesko it might have been, but anyway, one of those home runs hit my seat. If I would have been there, that ball I would have caught it. So anyway, yeah, that's pretty cool. Fred McGriff. So you think he'll ever get in?
I believe so. I think if the writers get their act together, you know, and really look at, you know, to me, I think that it's more than just numbers. You know, anything is debatable. I think that there's guys in the Hall, you know, that had great careers, but Hall of Fame careers, I don't know, you know. But to me, if you look at McGriff's overall numbers throughout his time in the league, you know, granted, he went from, you know, he started out I believe he started out in the minor leagues with the Yankees before going to Toronto and getting called up with Toronto. And then he bounced all over the place. He was in San Diego, Atlanta. Unfortunately, he was a Dodger. You know, in his career, he was with the Braves, you know, so maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. But, you know, numbers don't lie. So yeah. I believe he'll get in.
So being a huge baseball fan, you know, that has a lot to do with you being, you know, having love for the sport of wiffle ball. What is it mainly, though, that drives your wiffle ball craving, so to speak? How did you get drawn into this sport?
I actually just got drawn in with the group of guys who ended up being the Chico Bamboos that were friends of mine. But like Tim had touched on, you know, all of us, we played at a young age, and we didn't lob the ball when we were kids. We played competitively because we wanted to be the best. And I think that competitive nature, not just for me, but for all of the players involved in the sport, you know, and still wanting to play at an older age. You know, there's guys that are 50 years old that are still playing competitive, and I, you know, tip my cap to them, and, you know, I get it. You know, there's a respect there for those guys. But yeah, I just think it is competitive nature, and, you know, wiffle ball is much harder than baseball ever was.
Right.
And, you know, to be good at wiffle ball, honestly, to me, that means something, you know, and that's thousands of guys across the United States. I'm even seeing in Japan now. I'm seeing down in South America, you know, guys, people are playing wiffle ball. And, you know, it has to be that competitive nature, but also the fun and the challenge of it.
Yeah, I agree. It's, I don't know. There's something about it when you step in the batter's box and you face a guy, you know, he's got 6 pitches and he can throw at least 80 miles per hour. There's just something that gets that adrenaline pumping. I never experienced that playing baseball, but in this sport, there's just something about that just drives me.
Yeah. And I truly, you know, I absolutely agree with you. You know, you step into a box in baseball, you know, you've got guys that can throw pitches. You know, I remember old Pedro Martinez, he could throw a baseball like a wiffle ball. You know, now there's some kid that's throwing 105 miles an hour for St. Louis, and he let go of one the other night, and it did exactly what we call an in-fi here, but, you know, a drop ball does. You know, I'm going, holy cow. But, yeah, I think that, you know, there's a standard of baseball pitches. You know, guys have huge breaking balls and that, but, you know, you get in there against the wiffle ball, and it's a huge breaking ball. It's a huge rise. It's, you know, it's big from everywhere. And there's guys, like you said, that can just flat throw hard with that movement. And in that, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
And that makes it fun for me.
Right. The challenge. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
All right. So Tim talked a little bit about one of his favorite moments was the year the Bamboos made their famous run. And I have to say that's right up there with one of my favorites as well. You were a big part of that team. The thing I'm curious about, so you guys came out in 05 and you guys just pounded on guys at that NCT, and great experience. It's all documented on video. And then 2006 comes around and gone. You guys didn't show up in 06. What happened? What happened to that team?
You know, excuse me. You know, I think just life getting in the way. You know, we had guys on our team that had young kids that were active, you know, in Little League and you know, just families. I think just that focus. We gave it a go, but it just, as you said, it just fizzled out, and the desire was there, but the responsibility wasn't.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense to you. But yeah, it was a tough pill to swallow. You know, you definitely want to go back, you know, after something like that. And what a privilege to be able to say I was a part of the Bamboos team in 2005. And, you know, but I would love to be able to have said, I love being a part of the Bamboos in 06, 07, 08, 09, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah, it was tough, but you have an understanding. I mean, those four other guys that I was playing with are my buddies. You know, I've known them for so long, and in different avenues of my life. But we all came together, and we had a great 05. You know, I tell people, well, we played all the time. We played all of the time. We would play 4 or 5 games on a weekend, you know, 26, 27 innings. And we were just getting experience, I guess, would be the best thing to say. And, you know, we just, again, responsibility came in our path, and got to be responsible. So that really was the blow that got us in 06.
Yeah, so
that's really why it faded. It wasn't because we couldn't play or we didn't think we could hang, because you know, the Bamboos, we'll play anybody anytime. That we might not beat you, but we're going to give you a run.
Right. All you guys could hit, you could all pitch. It was just a very well-balanced team. And way back, one of the first shows we did, sort of a test show, I had Rich Ewald on, and we were talking a little bit about teams and the 06 season. And I told him that, you know, if you guys would have made it to 06, I probably would have picked you guys to win that tournament. And he found that hard to believe, but I still, to this day, I think you guys probably would have been the favorites, because the rookies ended up winning that, and I only know one guy that had them picked, and that was Kevin Kane, I think. So they came out they came out of nowhere and won that tournament. But you guys, I think you could have done some serious damage again in 06. So, but that leads me to my next question, and this is going to put you on the spot, is who was the best Bamboos player?
Oh, well, that doesn't really put me on the spot, because in my mind, it's a no-doubter, and that was Keith Davis.
Yeah.
Keith was our lefty. He took the ball out of the gate because, you know, we really didn't know what we were doing. So we thought, hey, if we win the first one, no one is expecting this 40th ranked team who showed up again on a chicken truck and missed the introductions and that. You know, no one expected us to do much except the Golden State, the Shockers, you know, Golden State Whifflers, GSW, you know, and that was the thing. You know, we had confidence because we played against, you know, Joel and Ryan and Mike Cross and Rob Brunner, and Brock, and those guys, they had it going on then. But we just kind of sat in the back pocket and kind of watched what they were doing, their strategies. And, to me, I wasn't going to face somebody that was as good as Joel. And still to this day, I don't think anybody could convince me of that. I don't think that they could convince the Bamboos of that. And I think that that's just the experience of, how many times we were able to play against them. Yeah. But no one expected us to do anything. And so we came out with our ace, and Keith just, Keith was a very quiet guy. I mean, he went right through. We went 7-0 in that tournament in the first 7 games. And, we lost a real close battle with the Gunners at the end where, Keith was just tired. And that's nothing against him because he gave everything he had and he was on. But not only that, Keith is a fantastic hitter. He's a left-handed hitter. He's really patient, and he always seemed to get the bat on the ball. So I think if I was to measure who was the best, that it would definitely be Keith Davis. But, Lenny, as soon as he let out the war cry, something changed in him. When you heard that, Bamboos, there were people at the end that were yelling that the same way we were, and they're going, what in the heck? And I think that, he had an intimidation factor on people that was just different, and he's just a gentle giant,
Yeah. At first, Bruce and I, and Tim, we would hear that war cry, that hoot, Bamboos, and we'd look around and we'd look at each other and be like, what the hell is it with these guys? So it took about 4 or 5 games before we finally came to terms with, okay, now we get it. These guys are serious, because it took us a while to really take you guys seriously, right? I mean,
I think everybody took a while to, and I was talking to Brock not too long ago, and I said, with the Bamboos, it was a love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
You either loved us or you hated us,
Yeah.
And, with Pete out there in his dirty uniform and his mismatched socks and, his big mustache, but Pete's a hell of a player. And then we had Big Daddy, Dave Kane. It was a fantastic leadoff hitter. He had great hands on the infield and could play infield, and then, throw me into the mix, and I'm another big left-handed hitter, and I can play outfield. And, as much as you don't need it, I had that long throw that I could throw from the outfield and get to the border of the net with accuracy. And I think with all 5 of us, my favorite band is Pearl Jam. Well, if you take them all and you separate them, they're not the best band in the world. But if you put them all together, well, go to a show and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Right.
It's kind of that same idea. We may not be the best as individuals, but if you put the 5 of us together, we've known each other for so long, and we played against each other for so long. We just knew what the others were capable of. And that really bred the success for us. And we didn't see anything new going into the 2005 NCT that we hadn't seen from, like Tim said, a young age.
So tell me a little bit about what you guys have going now. You're trying to get some of the guys back, and you're playing. You've had a tournament up there, and so tell me.
Yeah, well, we try to get together, as much as we can. Again, responsibility comes into play, but when we get together, we're playing at a very competitive level, and I keep driving that ice pick in their sides. We need to do this. We need to go to Texas. We need to do it. And, it's just a matter of making that decision and going. But there's no question about how competitive we are still. Lenny sends me videos all the time of, hey, check this drop curve I figured out. And I'm thinking, wow, that's pretty nasty. That's pretty nasty. So, you know, when we get together, it's very competitive, and it's at a high level where I would feel comfortable saying, hey, we could do this. We could go to Texas and play.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's a great thing to be able to say still, you know, that we're still playing. It might not be as much, but we're still playing, and we're still getting after it and being competitive with this game of wiffle ball.
Yeah, I think you guys could do some damage, you know, if you made that trip. I'm losing my voice again. For some reason, JB, every night I get in here, I start losing my voice. I think I'm allergic to JB.
I hope not.
All right. So one thing I definitely want to plug here, there's some old video out there somewhere, that 2005 NCT, and you can see a lot of the bamboo footage, some truly classic wiffle ball tournament moments. And then also you did an interview with the West Coast Wiffle Report a few months back, and that's out there. I'd recommend guys go check that out and listen to that, because I thought it was a really good discussion you had with Jim Dalby. So definitely check that out. And then the next thing is, let's go into big flies. So you and I have talked a few times about the bat production, and you know, your heart is in this. You take a craftsman's approach to this. This isn't assembly line work. This is carving them out one at a time. You know, like JB said with the toothpicks, you know, he would whittle them down, get them just right. But no, your bats are truly a work of art. So
thank you.
I really want you to tell me, you know, how you came up with this idea and what exactly goes into creating one of these bats. I'm not meaning, you know, technically speaking, but just, you know, your craftsmanship.
Right, my secrets.
Yeah.
Well, you remember back in 2005, and we had just met, and I told you I was going to make a wood wiffle ball bat.
Yeah.
And, you know, really, when I was growing up and, you know, playing Legion ball and, you know, even playing through high school, I grew up with a really good buddy across the street, and him and I were into baseball, but we only had backyard space, and we didn't have any field near, because at that time we were out in the country for the most part, and we used to make tape balls, and we would play tape ball every day. And then it evolved into wiffle ball, and then it'd go back to tape ball, and we would use regular wood bats, but we were throwing as hard as we could. So I think that way back when, the seed was planted in my head, and just being involved with competitive wiffle ball, I actually went to my dad and I said, hey, you know how to lathe. Why don't we try and do this? And so he knocked one out probably that night, or, you know, the next day. And I said, well, let's try another one. Let's try another one. And he just said, you know what? Why don't you do it? And he sat me down in front of that lathe, and we just started taking that idea. And I think that was back in 2005. So right around the time we were playing and involved with it. You know, and I would bounce ideas, and he was just a mastermind for me. And, you know, he taught me, you know, how to make a bat on a lathe. And so we just kept the idea going. And, you know, it's one of those things where you're on it, and then you throw it down, and you just walk away from it. But something always drew me back. And now I'm involved heavily with it, and I think it's really, really close to something good, something different. And to be involved with the game of wiffle ball in that way is, you know, that's awesome for me. But yeah, you know, it's one of those things. I have a passion for it, for the game of wiffle ball. And I just thought to myself, you know, how could I be a part of this more than just being a player? And that idea had just been growing and growing and growing. And now we are what we are, and we do what we do. So,
well, you know, the original bat made by the company was wood. So, you know, now you've got your wooden bat out. To me, that's awesome. I love it. I have a couple of them that you've sent me. And I requested that I just wanted a wood grain look, wood handle, no tape, nothing. And JB grabbed it a while ago and put it down in front of the camera. I actually love the bat. I think it's amazing. And I would really like to see this bat out there in the hands, you know, playing the sport at the highest levels. I think it's, you know, it's there. And I know you're always tweaking and improving, which is a sign of a master, you know. So we're really close.
Well, you know, I honestly, out of the respect of the game of wiffle ball, you know, if you're going to take the chance and put the product out there and say, hey, this is available for it, you have to put out a quality product. And so I think the desire to make things better and not get complacent with what we're doing. I mean, in anything that you're doing in your life, for me, it's the bats. And, you know, just continually getting that feedback and, you know, like you said, getting it out there and getting it into people's hands. Because I think it stems from a dream of mine and really a vision of the true possibilities of what could be. Yeah, you know, there's a lot of people that say, it's a little too heavy. And okay, that's great for me, because now I go back to the drawing board and I go, okay, how can I make it better? How can I make it lighter? You know, the durability is important as well. You know, I've had customers ask me, well, you know, what about this? You know, what if it snaps, or what if it breaks a ball? And I said, well, you know, if you're getting pounded around the yard all day long with a wiffle ball, plastic is going to, you know, break a plastic ball. If you're throwing strikes all night long, you know, you're going to break a ball because you're peppering that board all the time. So, you know, you take that and you go, okay, well then how can we make this better? You know, how can we make it more suitable for plastic being a wood bat? There's just so many things that, you know, you look to be better with, and you look to be better about your product. But that's the thing to me, and we spoke about this a long time ago, before it was really becoming something, is, you know, just putting a quality product out there for people to get excited about, and, you know, something different. But according to how I feel about the game of wiffle ball, I just don't want to throw something out there and say, oh yeah, here you go. You know, there's a reason why we mill the wood and we put it together, and, you know, I hand paint them, and my wife drew my logo, you know, so she's a huge part of that, because the first logos that I had, they looked a little too much like a baseball bat. And I thought, you know, people are going to hit the wrong kind of ball with these things, and, you know, it's not going to go anywhere. And I asked her, I said, hey, I need something that's going to look cool, fun, recreational, so where someone's not going to walk up and face somebody throwing, you know, 85 miles an hour and hit it and just destroy the bat. So, you know, there's a lot of things that go into it, but it all comes down to quality and always getting better.
Yeah. So anybody out there that's interested in seeing Babs Big Flies, I recommend it. Tell us, Babs, how they can contact you. JB ran the spot earlier, and we'll run it several more times, but tell us, Babs, how a guy can get a hold of you and get a bat.
Well, if you just go on to Babs Big Flies on Facebook, I've got a page up. I try to post all of the new bats that I come up with, but I usually do that after the customer receives the bat because I like the element of surprise for the customer. But I've got a lot of pictures, that show the different styles we can do. They're basically a standard make. Although I'll let Jonathan King, unless if he's listening, I still got to get a redwood cut down so I can make him like a 39 or 40 inch bat that he wants. Because you go big in Texas, that's what he told me.
Yeah.
So I said, hey, I'll do what I can. I'm trying for you, and I really am. I'm trying to get a 36 inch bat that has comparable weight that could be used competitively. So I don't want him to think that I forgot about him.
Yeah.
But you can get a hold of me through Messenger. You can get a hold of me at my phone number is 530-513-7371. If I don't pick up, leave me a message. I always call everybody back. And I actually prefer, if there is interest, I'd like to talk to whoever on the phone, kind of feel out exactly what they want. And I want to be able to take that idea of what they have in mind and interpret that to their bat that I'm going to send them, because I want to give the customer quality and what they want. And, possibilities are endless.
Yeah, guys,
So,
you can't beat that, guys. I mean, that's just unbelievable service. And JB, you got anything to
I was
add?
just going to say, you can't beat that. You're going to get a custom-made bat with your logo on it if you want for your team. Where else are you going to get that done?
Yeah.
Nowhere.
Yeah. So, Babs, appreciate you coming on the show tonight, man. It was a pleasure. And
hey, I appreciate you guys having me on, and letting me get the word out about Big Flies. And, it's a special thing to be a part of, the game of wiffle ball. And, if anybody out there has any interest, whether they, want a bat or not, if you just want to talk about them, and hey, just give me a ring.
all right.
All right. Appreciate you being on the show tonight, Kevin, and we'll keep running that spot and we'll get that number fixed for you. Sorry about that.
Guys, thanks so much.
All right. Have a good night.
Have a
All
good
right,
one.
you too. Talk
See ya.
soon. Bye-bye.
All right. Kevin Babler from Babs Big Flies.
Chico, California.
That's right. Be sure and check them out on Facebook. Like their page and share it. And while you're sharing stuff on Facebook, be sure and share the Fast Plastic Radio Network live Facebook feed on all your pages and get the word out about our show. Let's get more people out there.
So what was it? He said the number. I didn't catch
Well,
it.
I don't know. He said left the 3 off or something, but let's just find out, okay?
Play ball.
Big Flies, changing the way you play one bat at a time. Handmade, lightweight wood bats in Chico, California. Custom designed to each individual's order. You can reach Big Flies through Babs Big Flies on Facebook through Messenger, or by simply calling Kevin at Big Flies 530-517371. Big Flies, changing the way you play one bat at a time. Left a 3 off.
Well, did you leave it off, or was it like a blip?
It might have been a blip. I don't know. I'll just
Wow.
have to. It's a subliminal message. Think 3.
Yeah. 3.
Well, we'll get
3
that fixed.
is a magic number.
That's right.
Well, we're gonna catch our breath here, and then we're gonna bring on our next guest, Sylvie Serrano.
Absolutely.
Another NorCal player, Oakland, I believe.
Yeah, we're running a little behind. So, Sylvie, just hang on. We'll be with you in a moment. We'll be right back here on Fast Plastic Radio Network.
Hey, everybody. You're listening to WROC 93.5, the Fast Plastic Radio Network.
Best way to tell the world about your upcoming tournament is Fast Plastic Radio and WiffleBallTournaments.com. WiffleBallTournaments.com is here to help you locate tournaments all over the nation and find the ones closest to home. If you know of any tournaments that we don't have listed, let us know. We're here to help everyone, players and directors alike. Spread the word, wiffleballtournaments.com. You can contact wiffleballtournaments.com, w2bwiffle@gmail.com, wiffleballtournaments.com. Fast Plastic is back. The 2018 Texas Open in Frisco, Texas. Saturday, October 6th, Columbus Day weekend. Battle through 24 of the hardest hitting teams to take home the most coveted prize in the history of the sport. Fast Plastic. We're back bigger and better. $10,000 in a national championship. Register now. www.fastplasticnct.com. Fast Plastic. It's about the game.
You're listening to the Fast Plastic Radio Network. Fast Plastic Radio Network.
All right, welcome back to the Fast Plastic Radio Network, guys. Bill O here with JB in studio. Next week, got a decent show next week. We got Jim Ballion coming on. I don't think he has ever done a radio show, broadcast, vlog, spot, whatever it's called. Jared Lamp, he was going to be on tonight, but we had to bump him back. Something couldn't make it. So next week, Jared Lamp, Moonshot Bats coming on, and Carl Coffey, the mastermind behind the Two Wiffle Dudes podcast. He'll be on the show. We're going to have some interesting discussions with Carl. So again, next week, Jim Ballion, Jared Lamp, and Carl Coffey.
That's a good lineup. And speaking of a good lineup, we've got Sylvie Serrano.
Hey, Sylvie.
On the line.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Going good, man. We caught our breath here. We're a few minutes late. Sorry about that. So how's things going out west?
Things are good, man. No problem. I was listening to this show. Heard Babs spot, man. He's a good guy. You know, I like him. You know, he's doing good things for the sport. And I want to see him out there. Yeah, man, get that out there.
Yeah, he definitely is one of the good guys. Good to see him back involved and putting out a good product for guys. So, so you've been practicing up, Sylvie, getting some.
To be honest, you know, our team last year consisted of me, Rob Sloan, Jim Ballion, and Randy Dalby. You know, it's kind of hard for us to practice as a team.
Yeah.
We got me and my buddy Rob, who's our core. We've been together since the beginning. You know, practice is not easy. We both have careers, you know. But we're going to dedicate once a week coming up in the next month or so to get ready for this tournament. And we're, you know, at the moment, we're contemplating going as the old in the box of who's that, Joe Nord and Mickey Hyde as a two-man.
Yeah.
See how that works out, you know. With it being a one-day tournament, we figure, you know, maybe we can do it. Maybe we can make it happen.
Yeah, it's very likely, and the rules allow that. Rules are a 2 to 4 man team, so if you guys can do that, more power to you. So, with that being said, have you got the arm strength to get you through? If you're fortunate enough to get to, say, a Final Four and beyond, you guys got the arm strength to get through that?
No, that's what Advil for. Advil will get me through it, though.
Yeah.
Now, our goal is to, you know, let Rob, he's a pretty underrated pitcher. Nobody's ever sees him pitch because he never really has to. You know, in Texas, there's one or two, I can admit it, there's 1 or 2 cupcake games, and try to get him to go, and I just go as far as I can. Hopefully I don't burn out at the end. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, now I know a couple years ago, you and I played on the same team in Boston, and you were having a little bit of an arm issue. So did you work through that? Did you figure out what it was, or you still have that? Or
Oh, man, I thought I was going to need Tommy John surgery. I just, you know, man, it was like 26 degrees out there. We were playing at 11 o'clock at night in the Northeast. It was not ideal wiffle ball conditions. I heard a pop, but I just rested. It didn't throw for 4 months. Picked up a ball, threw again, and it felt fine. But at the time, I tried to battle through it, and whoever was out there saw I was battling hard, but I had nothing left. I was probably throwing about 35, 40 miles an hour, and
yeah, it looked.
Yeah, the arm's good now.
Well, that's good. I know you get older, you kind of know your body and what you can and can't do. Young guys, not so much. They'll get out there and, put the stress, keep going. What do you say to those guys? I mean, you've been playing for a long time. You pitch for a long time. What do you say to these younger players these days that don't know their limits for their arm?
That's a tough thing. You can't tell young guys anything. They think they're invincible. And there's a couple guys that have come up through the West Coast that just been flamethrowers. One guy comes to mind. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him. His name is Ryan Kaufman. Played down south in LA, and the guy probably throws just as hard as Sean Steffi, ridiculously fast. But he burnt his arm out, and I try to tell him, man, you don't have to go 100% every single pitch, But he blew his arm out, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think he got Tommy John surgery, and he just doesn't play anymore. Stuff like that. I mean, it's hard to tell the younger guys how to manage themselves, but you hate to see people burn themselves out. But
yeah,
my advice is you don't have to go 100% all the time, man. Work on the changeup, work on location. You don't have to go 100% all the time. And I made that mistake when I was younger too. I used to go 100% all the time. This isn't the first time I hurt my arm. I've hurt my arm in the beginning, playing baseball and wiffle together one day after the other. That's just not a good combination.
Yeah, definitely. I bet we would have a book about the size of a Bible if we listed all the players that have just went too far in throwing the wiffle ball. I mean, I'm not a believer that throwing the wiffle ball is a bad thing. I actually think it is a good thing, but you got to do everything in moderation, correct? So
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, I pitched a wiffle ball for 20 years at least, and never had a serious arm injury until just a couple of years ago. And I injured it. I did not injure it throwing a wiffle ball, but now I'm having issues with it. But anyway, so moderation, guys, just like Sylvie says, you don't have to throw the ball 95 miles per hour every time you throw. Just learn your change ups. When your body's talking to you, listen. So, Sylvie, are you still in Oakland in the Bay Area?
I still live in the Bay Area, about 20, 25 minutes outside of Oakland. Yeah.
So that part of the country has always had really deep history in the sport, going way back. I can remember playing back up there. Tim and I were talking about yard ball earlier. I played in Golden Gate Park in a huge tournament back in 98, something like that. First met Mike Cross there back in 98, I think. And anyway, I know, you emerged, you came out of that NorCal Bay Area scene. What year was that? Like 04 or something like that?
No, our first year, 06. It was the year after the Bamboos went to the Final Four, and we met them at the first tournament, and they told us about it, and it sounded awesome. We wanted to go that first year, and you actually emailed us about going, but we were just a two-man team that we didn't know what the hell we were doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, 2006 is our first year of Fast Plastic.
You guys, that was the year it was the Oakland Mariners, right?
We were the Oakland Mariners. We adopted our Sunday League hardball team because we already had the uniform. So we just adopted the name through there.
So how did you discover the pro style or the fast pitch game? How, obviously you said you played a lot when you were younger, but what was the first tournament you played in where you said, man, this is what I need to be doing?
The first tournament was 2006. We discovered the game. My buddy Rob, my teammate, he had a cousin who lived in the Bay Area. We used to always go to his house all the time, and his neighbor from New York, he taught us the game of wiffle ball. We used to just play, against the side of the garage with a tennis ball and a wooden bat. and we discovered wiffle ball. He taught it to us, and we said, man, this is fun. So I just got the idea one day, hey, man, there's some of this stuff. You know, I never heard about it. I never seen about it in the news or anything like that. So I just went on Google and I looked it up, and boom, 2 weeks later, there's a tournament down in San Jose, and we're like, screw it, let's go. And we did it. And we just showed up, and we got our butts kicked, and we learned a lot, though. The next tournament, we came in second place to the GSW and Joel and them. And ever since then, we've just been picking it up, and yeah, that's pretty much how it started.
Yeah, like I said, man, that's a tough area up there. You know, a lot of, you know, quote unquote Hall of Famers have come out of that area. Chuck Hensley, we talked about him. DeRoches, Mike Cross, Rob Brunner, you and Rob, and Darren Vieira, and I mean, it just goes on and on. I could probably name off 50 to 75 players that I've played against or I've known over the years. All the Chico Bamboo guys, a lot of really good. Martello, there you go. There's another one. So really good. It's always been a hotbed for the sport. So last year you mentioned you played with Balian and Randy Dalby. On paper, you guys had you had to come into that as being one of the favorites. Didn't work out. What happened with you guys? First, how did you guys come together as a team, and how did you land Moonshot as a sponsor?
Well, when I used to be the FP director, you know, from what was it, 2008 to 7 to 9 when it
right.
And I've always I've loved the Moonshot bat. I've always endorsed it, and I would always blow up Jared, and he would eventually give in and give us a bat. He probably doesn't want me telling that to anybody, but yeah. So he remembers me, and then you know, I just emailed him and said, hey man, let's do something. He remembered us doing some work back in the days, and he gave in, man. And I don't want to give the details of his sponsorship to us, but he did something nice for us.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, definitely. Good guy. He's definitely a good guy. And he makes, I think, the best bat. I really do want to try Babs' bat, but I think Moonshot is just by far the best. By far.
Yeah, they're good. You know, we need several good bats in the sport. You know, several bat builders getting involved with the sport, and you know, that drives competition. So, but how did you and Balian and Dalby and Rob, how did you guys manage to come together as a team? Tell me that process.
Well, how did it come about? Me, Rob, we tried to get Randy Dalby to play with us. I think DSW was having a fast pitch tournament one year. We were going to do it, but we just ended up not doing it. Something happened. So we just, you know, we found out Fast Plastic was coming back. We knew none of us were in fast practice shape. We weren't in fast pitch shape. We hadn't played the game in a long time. So we wanted to give ourselves the best chance. And we knew we would be considered, quote unquote, a super team. But, you know, with us not playing fast pitch in so long, we knew we didn't know we wouldn't win the tournament. We just knew we didn't have the greatest chance. We wanted to give ourselves the best chance. So, you know, Balian's a tough guy to get to commit to something. So I just had to beat him over the head 100 times to get him to play, and he finally gave in. And that's pretty much how it happened. Randy was always in to play with us. He was just dying. Was a tough one to get. So
yeah, I think Balian's most famous quote, and this is it right here, is, "Well, that's it."
Yeah,
that's Jim Balian.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's what it was.
Yeah, I know him.
I honestly didn't know if we were going to have a fourth until we showed up in Texas and he was there, so I didn't know. So
yeah,
there was no guarantee.
So tell me about your best experience in the sport, you know, from a tournament standpoint. I know you played, you know, a lot of Golden Stick, and you played back in the Fast Plastic days and NorCal tournaments. What is the one experience that ranks the highest for you?
Oh man, I have a lot. The highest, I mean, I would have to say 2010. You're probably not gonna like this, but GSWL, they threw together an Ultimate Whiffler tournament, and I actually won that. So that's like my one championship, national championship for wiffle ball that I can stake claim to. So that would probably be it. That was it's a cool concept. I wish it was still around. I don't know if it's still around. I don't really follow GSWL that much anymore. But that would be it. It's an awesome time, man. Fast pitch, one-on-one, you versus the other guy. You can't blame your teammates if you don't win, and
yeah,
that would be it for me. Other than that, also 2009, good and bad. You know, we had the whole rain out in Texas. I felt like we should have won it that year. We had, as soon as that rain hit, they moved us to the temporary field with the cement blocks for home plate, and I couldn't throw a strike. We made it to I believe the Final Four, and I just couldn't throw a strike, and the balls got all messed up, and I felt like we should have won it that year. But yeah,
what was that? The O Bombers? Was that your team?
Yeah, that was me, Rob Colon, and Rob Runner. We had a monster team. We were the 1 seed throughout the whole tournament, and we just at the end we lost it with the rain, the cold, the balls. It was just a bad mix.
Yeah, it was. Well, we got a couple minutes left here. The one thing, what would you like to see happen up there in NorCal for the sport? All right. I mean,
I want everybody to come back.
Yeah. So what's it going to take? What's it going to take to get these guys back out there? What do you think?
I don't know. Commitment from them. I'm committed. I'll play. I got a job in the career. I work. I got a family, but I can donate a weekend here and there to play. It's just about commitment, you know?
Right.
I know a lot of these guys love the sport, and I'd say if you're going to be traveling to Texas to play in a tournament, you got to love the sport. And if you love it that much, keep it going. You know, come out and play and just support it. And that's all I have to say, you know. I know Babs is making that excuse to our family, man. You only live 2 hours from me, man. Come play. Bring the bamboos down. Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, man. Guys, you know, California is a big place, but a little bit of effort, you guys can have a really great thing going again up there in NorCal. It once was, and it will be again, one way or another. It's going to happen. I'm telling you. So just hang in there. Maybe you and I should talk a little bit and see what we can get going. I got some ideas. So anyway,
for sure. I had one last idea. I don't know if we have enough time yet.
Yeah, go ahead.
To throw it out there. I was talking with Babs, and I don't know if you guys have something like this planned, but just an idea if you guys want to roll with it. A home run derby, man, for this year's NCT, using Babs' bat. What do you say?
Yep, we were already in discussions on that. Just like the old days, all the guys that used to show up, we used to do skills competition on Friday evening, and I think that's what we're planning for this year. So you definitely, that's a good idea.
Yeah, so. I mean, I just, you know, it's fun, you know.
Right.
Thought I'd throw that out there.
Builds camaraderie amongst all the guys, you know, get out there and drink a beer, hang out, get to know your opponents before you beat the hell out of them.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. All right, Sylvie, good talking to you, man. See you in Texas, right?
Yes, you will see me there. Hope as a 2-man, more than likely. So,
all right.
Look forward to it. I'll see you guys there.
Hey, Sylvie, before you hang up, I want you to tell me who you are, where you're at, and what your favorite station for wiffle ball information is.
This is Sylvie Serrano, Oakland, California, and I listen to FP Radio.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for being on the show tonight with us.
All right. Thanks, guys. See you in Texas.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Great call there with Sylvie.
Yeah.
Yeah, great call. So we've got a little bit of time here. I guess we can do a quick recap of the show.
We want to take a call. Anybody out there just dying to call in? And
we can do that also. If you want to call in and talk to Billy O or talk to me and let me make you famous and let you do a phone liner for us, you can call us at 618-200-9260. That'll get us here in the studios. Don't be shy. Call in. We'll put you on the air. We'll let you talk about what's on your mind. maybe you want to call in and do a little trash talk about your team and the Texas NCT that's coming up.
Yeah, getting quite a few texts coming in saying good show and thanks and all this
They
stuff.
do realize that this is radio, right? That we can't see, listeners can't hear the text messages. So that's why we encourage to call in on the open end of the show here.
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw that out.
Again, next week, Jim Ballion, Jared Lamp, Carl Coffey. Be sure to tune in for that. What time, JB?
7 Central Time.
7 Central.
That's right. On your home for all the wiffle ball talk you can handle, the Fast Plastic Radio Network on WROC 93.5.
What about guys, JB, that might want an ad spot? How would somebody want to do that? Because I see you've been working on building those.
So if you've got, say you got a podcast you want us to advertise, if you notice we've got the West Coast Wiffle Report spot here, email us, WROC935 therock@gmail. Tell us about what you want us to plug. Give us a description, any information how to get to the website if you're doing a podcast, or if you've got a product for wiffle ball that you're wanting to get out there. Give us the information, description. We'll get something put together and we'll start promoting either your podcast or your product, whatever it is that you want to promote.
Yeah, so would that include like a tournament?
Absolutely. Now,
or a league?
Yeah, I mean, we could do that for you too, but if you've got a tournament, I would tell you to get a hold of Millsy, wiffleballtournaments.com, and let him know about it so he can get you on his page. But yeah, we'll absolutely talk about your tournaments on here. Absolutely. Send us the information.
Yeah, why not? That'd be great. I wish we had this tool 15 years ago.
Yeah, that'd have been great. The other thing I will encourage everybody that watches the show, I've said this throughout the night, share our show on your Facebook page. We want to get as many shares as we can. Currently, we're at 7 shares for this show tonight, as I've been looking at it.
I've been told 1 share was too many. Of course, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I've seen a few of those posts over here. People are saying they've shared CHER, the link. So, yeah. So just share it. We want to get as many people educated about the show and about the sport, about the tournaments coming on.
Yeah. One quick plug here. Last week, I sat in and watched the Palisades Game of the Week on Facebook Live. Very cool. I like watching because, well, all video, if it's got the right angle, you can actually get your eye back watching the live pitching.
Right.
So anyway, I sat in and watched the game last week. It was a great game. Jordan Robles versus Connor Young. Palisades, WBL, Facebook Live. I think they got another one coming up in about a week and a half. So check that out.
Yeah, I was watching Leroy Wiffle earlier before the show started.
How's he doing anyway?
Well, you know, I talked about they needed to work on their pitching. Well, I guess they were practicing before the actual game started. They were working on their pitching. They've sped up their pitching, but they're still not hitting the strike zone. So,
really?
Yeah, so I think they're working on it. Who knows? Maybe they're going to be in Texas. Maybe that's what they're gearing up for.
Come on down, boys. Also, another bit of info out there, rumor mill, I guess. Derek Anderson resurfacing JAL. Come on, Derek. Really?
Well, you know what? Bring it on.
Nah, he's probably getting up there, getting in some hacks, getting his eye back, and he's going to show up in October in some form. I guarantee it.
Well, I'm sure that he probably will then.
Weight Watchers and all. I'm just joking, Derek. You're one of my favorites, but you need to be back in Texas. Get the Gunners out. Heck, even if you got to break out the Commander, bring the Commander back.
Yeah.
So anyway, JB, I don't know. I guess I'm done for the night unless you got anything else you want to go
No,
over.
that's it. Be sure and like us on Facebook, WROC The Rock. Check out Fast Plastic NCT on Facebook also. Check us out on YouTube. Until next week, we'll see you later. We're out.
I bid you farewell, arrivederci, sayonara, and all that sort of jazz.
What's that smell?
Adios, you chicken-plucking little stinker! Come on! Quit stalling!
As I was saying, Buster, this planet ain't big enough for the two of us. Oh, off you go!
Well, I can't do any more damage around this popsicle stand. I'm out of here!
Fluffer and Succotash, I wish you'd reconsider.
We hope you enjoyed the show.
When I say whoa, I mean whoa!
Do I hear amen?
You're mocking me, aren't you?
Darn, that's the end.